Matt, you get off to a 5-0 lead. Your crowd's going crazy, and then Michigan starts. They pick the game up, rebounding inside their physicality. Then they get an 11-point lead on you, and then they score an 11-0 run again. What are you saying to your team at that point to get them back, to get some discipline back in the game?
Yeah, obviously, we liked the shots we were getting. I thought their length at the rim bothered us, but we were getting the ball where we wanted to get it. And then, we had some pretty good shots to just not go down. But I thought, just like in our last two games, we set the tone on the glass. And even though we end up only being down 8 rebounds and having more offensive rebounds than them, they set the tone. Like that to me is the game right there. The way they set the tone, we had to be better shot makers. It ends up in the possession war, it ends up even because we have 8 fewer turnovers. And so if you look at that from an even standpoint, now it's going to really come down, because the possessions are the same, it's going to come down to how you shoot the basketball. It just seemed like, and I don't know statistically, when they got offensive rebounds, they made us pay. When we got offensive rebounds, at times we made them pay in the second half. And it's different, right? You're down 10 to 20 points in the second half. And so you're trying to climb back in there. When you put yourself in that kind of hole, like, you have to have more things go your way. You got to make more shots. You got to make more plays. But give them credit. Just like in the last two games for us, like we set the tone on the glass, they set the tone for the game right there. And, their size was there, but also they were quicker to the ball. I thought their guards did a good job of being around the basketball. And then I thought in the second half, Cadeau was really good. I thought Cadeau made some really good plays. And when you sit there and, like, your fourth, fifth option can carry the weight, or someone like LJ Kaysen can come in the game and like control a game at the end of the game, even though he didn't control the game today, so to speak. He made a lot of good plays. Like, just look at their bench, and when you can go to them and get consistence, get threes from all of them, they make their free throws, their bench doesn't turn the ball over. Like, that's good. They're the number one team in the country for a reason. They, a lot of times people will have like a solid 5, and then, like, they make a dip when they sub. Like, these guys don't make a dip. Like, they're a good team.
Just how much their size and length matter from a defensive perspective in terms of what you guys want to do in your ball screen stuff and things like that. I know you got the ball where you wanted to. But
yeah, we got the ball where.
How hard was
that? That doesn't bother us one bit. Like, we get the ball where we want it. When we go to try to make shots, that bothered us at the rim. And I think it's when, and we had a really good big guy a couple years ago, and it's more of, like, now it's more than one play, right? When they change a shot or block a shot, it's more than one play. But you got to be able to get to their body and be physical and go score. And I thought Trey did some really good things. You look at his stat line, even though he shot 26 times, I thought he did, but he could have made half of those misses right there. And but I like our team. I like our team. I think sometimes people get carried away when you have a loss, and but it was one of those games where the ball got where we needed it to get. We just had to make more plays, but you also had to get more rebounds. So anytime you're dealing with a couple different scenarios, we needed this to happen, needed that to happen, you're probably not going to come out a winner there.
Matt, the halftime talk, you're down 16. There's no 16-point play. There's no 16-point 10-minute stretch. What's the mindset there? Is it just let's start over? Go out there and play like it's 0-0 and try to chip this thing away, kind of like Nebraska just did to you last week?
Yeah, Nebraska made shots. It's how they got there. We made more shots, but just everything that I just talked about, like trying to keep them off the glass. Sometimes they get you. They're great at driving the basketball. They're great in transition. They're great at driving the basketball. And if you can't contain the dribble and then you get into help and now they're diving with size, you got to take those divers on, and you can't allow that. You saw it a couple times when they dove, they centered it, we had to sell out to it, and then just opposite, they're hitting for those threes. Like they put you in those binds. And because a lot of times you can play two people, but you can't play two people when they're 6'11" and they're 7'3". Like, you have to have a body there. And I always say that about a team is, like, if you're going to sit there and live and help, you're going to be in trouble. Like, you got to be able to help people in basketball, but you can't be helping the whole time. We just had to help way too much. And then we wanted to stay one-on-one with our fives. And Mara made a couple really nice plays, especially. I think that both those plays were in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. And we had to try to win that battle one-on-one because his passing's so good. So if you want to sit there and help and try to squeeze him a little bit, people will cut right off of him. He's great at making those passes, getting guys threes, getting guys layups, getting people in the bonus, getting to the free throw line a lot. So for us, we had to be better in that scenario. We had to be better on the glass, but also containing the dribble. We weren't awful in that area, but we had to have more plays there so we weren't always in help. Go ahead.
All three of the losses at home to elite teams, but correct. I guess for a team with your expectation level, how frustrating is it to have not taken advantage of one of those opportunities?
Yeah, you have to play better. You have to play better. Like, these guys got us on the glass. Illinois got us on the glass. Iowa State took us to the woodshed. Your final test is in the NCAA tournament. That's the way I look at it. Like, sure, you want to win those games, but we're not. If we'd have won it, we wouldn't have had a parade, right? We'd be like, whatever. If we win this game, it doesn't mean we go to the Final Four. You got to win 4 games to go to the Final Four. Like, it just puts you in a better stratosphere in terms of your seed. But our goal was to win the Big Ten. These dudes ain't losing 4 games. We got 4 losses. They ain't losing 4 games. So that's just that. That's reality. When you've been in a league for over 25 years, that's reality. When you face up to people like that. But no, to answer your question, you try to learn from it. You know what I mean? But, you have to understand those 3 teams you mentioned, they bring out different scenarios and problems that other people don't bring out. That's why they're ranked the way they are. Because, you can be preseason number 1 in the country. That means nothing. But when you're in the middle of February and you're number 1 in the country, it means a whole lot because you earned that one. They earned that. They earned what they've gotten. So we just got to keep earning ours too.
Hey, Matt, you talked about how they don't have a dip when they go to their bench. And I know that's not very common. Do you guys have? How do you feel about your depth? Do you guys
I love our depth. It's just one of those things where, we just have to be better. And our bench has really helped us. We've had some guys really step up coming off our bench, but collectively, it's not really our bench. It's just as our team. We just had to be better today. But I think a lot of that, us not being, better, was Michigan. You got to give Michigan credit.
Yeah, in the second half, it looked like you maybe went to some possessions, offense, defense with Benner and Jacobson. Was that just a matter of trying to steal some offensive possessions with more weapons on the court, or did you see something specifically you thought going smaller would do to Michigan?
I just thought that was a better for Trey Kaufman-Renn while we were in foul trouble, just kind of an offense-defense switch, because Mara is not going to be able to, with pocket passes, be able to handle all that. Now, we can't handle him at the other end. There's your issue, right? And so, there's absolutes. It's not football. You play offense and defense. And so you have to be able to kind of understand who they have and where you're at. But when you're down, you got to be more aggressive. You just had to. Oscar had 3, Daniel had 2. So we went offense, defense with Jack Benner, trying to get him some open looks, but also get Trey against their biggest guy. Because Trey's quickness, kind of suits him well in those situations. But we also see that, it's not an end-all, be-all. When you do all that stuff, you can run guys in and out and do different stuff and give different things. They still, no matter who they put out there, have a formidable team.
Coach, you talked about these games being able to build seeding for March and things, but how do you take your second half performance and kind of build off of that 4 games in March against teams like this?
Right. Sometimes guys don't look at it like we just won 4 straight games. Like these guys have won a lot of games. And so you get into a season where you can look in like small segments of playing well. And sometimes you get in the tournament and you don't realize that. Just like, hey man, we just got to win. You kind of treat it like weekends, right? You got to win 2 games. You got to win 2 this weekend. You got to win 2 next weekend to get to a Final Four. And obviously you got to win 2 there. But no, it's the game's different when you're down too. You know what I mean? You're trying to fight back in, and so sometimes some things that happen, human nature-wise, human behavior-wise, with officials and with everything, you're down. So if you more as an aggressor, it's why you see people come back in games, and people always go, "How in the hell can you lose that lead?" Well, you're more or less letting us know you don't understand shit about basketball. Because if you've ever been around basketball a long time, you see things that you've never seen before. If you go to an NBA game, it happens all the time. And that NBA team that had that big lead that let it come back, they're really, really good players. They're the best players in the world. So if it happens to them, it happens to everybody. It happened to us the other day at Nebraska. It's like we kept executing. We kept getting good shots. We kept missing. We kept getting scored on at the other end. There wasn't a whole lot of difference besides we made shots in the first half, we missed in the second half, and they flipped theirs too. And that's just basketball. But no, just trying to be more aggressive, trying to make good decisions. But, sometimes when you're at the rim or you're driving towards the rim, you got to just, you got to swallow your pride sometimes. And I thought our guys did a good job with that in terms of just not taking them on. When we got angles, we really wanted to get to their body, whether we were posting or driving. But when you don't have angles, that ball's got to move then. You got to get them in overhelp and get that ball moving.
Everyone kind of talks about Michigan's size and the big lineup that they play. When you combine that with the way they run and the way they shoot,
yes.
How do you kind of simulate that? How do you prepare for that in the lead up to the game?
Yeah, very difficult. You do some breakdown drills where you're up against it in terms of advancing the basketball and then trying to sprint to build a wall. And so what I always talk about when you're up against it in transition, and it can't be a 2-on-2 deal. It's got to kind of be one of those primary breaks that's like 4-on-3 that's going to morph into 5-on-5. But with them, they really attack the middle when they advance the basketball. So the way we wanted to guard right away, we didn't have somebody picking the ball up. We were going to meet them there. So now you allow that ball to get advanced. When Mara would go out, now we pick the ball up, and now they can't advance the basketball. But if you get behind like on a long shot or you get behind on a turnover, oh, good luck to you. Yeah, I'd rather teach third grade. Because you're fouling them. You're fouling them. If you're behind a play and they have numbers, you're in trouble, especially if size is involved. Yaxel Landenberg is not a normal small forward. He's got size. He had 70 blocks as a freshman and sophomore in college. They have 3 defensive fives, but it's not their issue. Our issue is 2 of those guys can now switch and guard point guards. That's where the difference is. The difference isn't in their scheme. Their difference is how hard they play, how long they are, and how athletic, but that versatility. Because Mara can guard a 5, right? And he can cause problems, but you can pick on him, just like people can pick on Zach. You can pick on him. Those other 2 guys, they're difference makers defensively. They make mistakes and they cover their mistakes up. I used to always say that about Jaden Ivey. He'd have great blocks, but he also would get beat and have a great block, right? Those guys make mistakes and they just cover their mistakes up, where the rest of the world, we don't. The rest of the world fouls.
Can you assess Braden's performance tonight, especially considering what they were trying to do to take him out of things?
Yeah.
It was a scoreless first half, and how that played into how this.
Yeah, I think Michigan is a great defensive team. They didn't do anything different than anybody else has done. They're just bigger, longer, whatever. He didn't have a good first half. If you see his second half, even though his overall numbers aren't good, but he's a good player. He finds his way. But Yeah, Braden's seen a lot. He'll be fine. He just didn't have a good first half. But give them credit, yeah.
For many years, teams have come in here and kind of been phased by the environment, not shot very well because of it.
Right.
One common denominator between your losses here and some of the games where you've struggled has been
Yep.
teams have shot really well.
Yep.
Can you wrap your head around that? Is it a Purdue issue? Is it those specific opponents?
It's
Is
a
it
Purdue
college
issue.
basketball nowadays?
Yeah,
Guys
no,
being
no.
older?
No, it's playing a great team, and sometimes you overhelp, and if we have to overhelp and we get in those positions, they're going to have cleaner looks, and when they're going to have cleaner looks, yeah. Iowa State's pretty good. Illinois is pretty good. Michigan's pretty good. And so when you get behind those teams, now when you get behind plays and the ball gets deep, what do? You guys should be in unison, but that's okay. You stop layups. You stop layups. The ball's deep, you're in trouble, you're behind the play, you stop layups. Then they spray it out. Now you got to roll. You got to go. And then you get slow in rotations and the ball moves on you. And so that's the reason I always talk about the help. Like, we can't live in help. And when you get against good teams, you help more than you normally do. And now, you're just hoping that they're just trying to go for theirs. But if they're making the right play and making the right decisions, and all three of those programs play the right way, now they move that ball on you. Like, it just, the plays that have stuck in my head is when they dove and we didn't get in front of them, and then we had to help on the baseline. They throw it to them, then they hit those 2 threes right in front of their bench. Like, you're stuck, but you got to stop layups. But you can't allow that pass to the middle. Right as that happens, you want it to go out. See, the one thing about going out, anytime you put 2 on the ball, the person you leave open is the guy furthest away from the basketball. Okay? You've put 2 people on the ball, no matter what you do. That's the reason ball screens in the middle are really hard, because everybody's 1 pass away. So now when you do that, you want that ball to go out, and then you're going to react to that on air time, because it's the furthest pass, so it's the most time. So when you do that, now you got time to recover, and then everybody's got to explode to the ball. But when the ball gets 2 on it and it gets centered in any capacity, you're in deep shit against a good team. So you double the post and the first pass goes to the top of the key, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You drive the baseline and that pass goes 5 feet from the rim, right in the middle, you're in trouble. I can keep going if you want me to. But that's basketball. So if you can keep the ball in front of you and you don't have to help, that is the equation. That is what you want to help yourself. But if you don't have built-in help when they do get beat, you're in trouble there also. So that's the game. Go ahead. You don't have any more?
Well, my point was they're making the shots. They don't seem to be phased maybe in the past like they were in an environment like this. Is that fair?
Yeah, but they're open. Great teams are open. They're going to make them.
Matt?
It's hard to quantify 25 games in my brain right here. You know what I mean? Versus 3. So go ahead.
Similar to Illinois, I mean, rebounding is rebounding.
Right.
But it seems like these 2 games, the longer rebounds
Yes.
put you in a worse position. But did that also make you guys scramble on defense to try to cover up the shooters on the outside when they got the boards?
Yeah. See, the thing that happens with rebounds is wherever it goes, especially if it goes to a side, where do the people flock to? They flock there. So a quick reversal, it has you in a rotation right away. And so a lot of that, and that's what happens a lot of times. Like when you say, okay, ball screen defense, it's 5 people in ball screen defense. When you say rebounding, it's 5 people in rebounding. It's not just, hey, your big's got a rebound and that's that. No, everyone's got a rebound. And I thought they were great. They were better than us around the rim, but they were better than us being quicker to the basketball, especially the ones that got hit a couple times. It just seemed like it blew my mind that we had 14 offensive rebounds and they had 13. There's nobody who grabbed that box score that thought that. There's no way you walked out of that gym and said, man, Purdue had more offensive rebounds than them. Right? I mean, that was just, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, our stat crew's over there not paying attention. But there it is, right there. Get your shit together, Chris. You guys got any other questions? A lot of tapbacks. And they got them. Yeah.
And you had to live with it. Or fix it.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was way too much talking, guys.